Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast with me, your host, Freddie Hall. Welcome back, Adam and Sky, and we all will wish you a very Merry Christmas. Hope you had a very good time. We certainly did. I'm sure there was some NFL apparel that we all got for Christmas, or maybe you did at home to go and support your team as we draw ever closer to the end of the regular season. Only one more weekend, 16 games of football left. Well, 17 technically, I suppose, because we've got tonight's, haven't we? Yeah. So, because this is Monday, even though you're watching on Tuesday, we're doing it before the game this evening. But yeah, I hope you all had a very good Christmas. This is our last episode for the new year as well. So, hope you will have a very fantastic new year. Adam, Sky, a weekend of NFL that I watched predominantly on a bus, as we've just been talking about prior to me coming on. A lot of teams now decided of who's going to be in. It's really heating up. I mean, Sky, congratulations.
Come on!
This is your moment to shine.
Let's go. I mean, Adam, to be fair, was on. A lot of people were on the Patriots being better, but when I said 11 wins, people were like turning their noses up, like what? And then now we've got to win a division as well. So look at that. We're back on top, baby.
You do know it was only because we didn't realise how easy your schedule actually was going to be. That was the reason. So
the only thing I find interesting, actually, I don't know if you saw this a couple of weeks ago, they said it's the easiest schedule since the Rams 99 season, which I'm pretty sure is when they beat the Titans in the Super Bowl. And I can say that in my 21 years of watching the NFL, I don't think I've ever heard that mentioned. All I hear is greatest show on turf. Rams won the Super Bowl that year. So maybe we'll get a Drake May greatest show on turf equivalent come San Fran in Feb.
We're always going to tell you it was the easiest schedule ever. I remember, don't you worry.
It's been a weird year. But it doesn't matter because we're in the playoffs and so are the Packers. Adam didn't get any Packers stuff for Christmas because if it had any of the current players, I mean, they're injured. So there's no point getting them on the back.
Everything,
not worth it.
That's what Adam's partner got him for Christmas was a Green Bay Packer first aid kit.
Yeah. It's the way forward. We all need one. It's ridiculous.
So you're not fancying your chances in the playoffs then, Adam, with these injuries?
No, not at all. I mean, have you seen our team at the moment? It's like even in that game against the Ravens, we had 3 defenders go down injured in the first quarter. I mean, no. I think I read somewhere that they've actually got 43 active players on the roster. That's only 10 short of a normal NFL roster at the moment, where there's just so many of them have gone down injured. So, no, I don't fancy our chances, really. I think it's just a matter of time, personally.
Yeah, I mean, a bright star for you guys has been Malik Willis, but everyone's been just saying Malik Willis is playing.
He'll be gone next year. Great.
Good contract. Like, well, that's not like great for us because if you're going to get injured again, we sort of need somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's done really well, and he probably deserves another shot. But I think it goes to show, and said it lots of times, when you're at a bad organisation, it rarely works, and you go into a good organisation and you get time and you get some coaching and it works well, and he's improved a lot. So hopefully he doesn't end up at the Jets.
And a few nights before the Super Bowl does happen in San Francisco, do you think it will be officially May VP season? That's just a Sky.
I think that, so obviously a couple of weeks ago I'd said that it has to be Stafford, but if you look at the metrics that May's been putting up, like breaking records, there was that one stat which no one else in history has done, but I can't think of what it was. But surely
that's because it was a made-up stat. That's why.
No, it's not. I'm making my mission to find it.
I think
surely he's the MVP.
Between us, I think we could have had a good go at scoring about 5 touchdowns on the Jets defense at the moment. So, let's not get too excited.
I think he definitely, it's only out of him and Stafford, surely.
People are saying Josh Allen.
Here it is. No, not what after last night. Don't annoy me. Right. List of quarterbacks in the last 40 years with a 90% completion rate and 5 touchdowns in a game. One.
I don't care.
Ray.
I don't care. It was the Jets defense. I don't care. No one cares.
No
one cares.
10 minutes left in the third quarter.
Are you still talking? Didn't we work it out that no one cares?
Well, the only thing that matters is that you lot are bounced in round 1.
No one cares.
And we're going all the May.
Jesus Christ.
For the record, I did have Patriots as a dark horse playoff team at the start of the season. I did that a fair few times, so I will back myself on that one. But we are going to now formally begin this episode, I suppose. It is a little bit of a sort of looking at week 17, then going into week 18, because there is 3 games that are going to happen in week 18. But we are going to discuss how the teams performed in week 17 as well, because they are the 3 pivotal games of really the games that everyone's going to be watching at next weekend, because everything else has sort of been sealed, done. There's a few things that are still up in the air, but I think these are the most exciting prospects of games that we're looking forward to. And so we're going to start with the first one being the Carolina Panthers going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Saturday. That's going to be 9:30 our time at kickoff. The winner of this game will win the NFC South. Obviously, the Panthers at the minute at the top of there, 8-8. The Bucs 7-9. The Bucs obviously falling short against the Miami Dolphins 20-17, and the Panthers did fall short to the Seattle Seahawks 27-10. However, I would say that Carolina's defeat is easier to swallow than maybe Tampa's is, but at the same time, Tampa are just so battered up at the minute. The loss to Miami isn't, I suppose, out of the realms, really. I mean, sorry, Adam. So obviously this game is highly anticipated. I think really everyone fought for this. I think it's highly anticipated because everyone thought that Tampa would just run away with this division, and maybe that the Falcons would be challenging, and that the Panthers have sort of really, I suppose, not come out of nowhere, because they are only 8-8. That is it sort of, they win their division if they win this game, but it'll be 9-8, and it doesn't sound so, doesn't sound that sexy, does it?
No, I mean, I just quickly having a look. When you said the Bucs, they're not as banged up as what we maybe think. They've got a lot of their players back now, haven't they? They've been banged up over the season.
Yeah,
but they do feel like they're not quite as bad as what they were before. No, it's kind of
4-game loss streak as well.
They've struggled, and Baker Mayfield has struggled a lot in the sort of second half of this season. I think Tristan Wirfs has kind of been missing, hasn't he? That's been a big loss for him. But I don't know. It kind of feels like this is going to be whoever sort of falls into the playoffs kind of thing. Like neither team really feel like it's that deserving, given how their seasons have gone. Obviously, the winner of the division gets in, and that's how it works, and that's fine. But it just kind of feels like neither team are really of the standard that you would want from a playoff team, which is a bit of a shame that they're going to get in there. Having said that, when I look at the standings, there isn't anyone lower down that really is any better, I would say. So it's kind of fair enough. We all had the Bucs, didn't we, to win the division at the beginning? I think everyone said that. I remember saying about the Panthers coming second. I felt like they had more than what the Falcons had, or the Saints. But I mean, it's just I think whoever goes through and wins this, I think they're done straight away.
You tied me up for something there. Sorry.
No, that's a bit remarkable, isn't it? Because
not tired. Sorry.
But
if that's what you're into, Sky.
It's crazy because Baker was playing it to open the season. People were going early MVP, early go for MVP. And since the bye week, they've won 1 in 3, 6, 8. They've won one game in 8.
It's mad.
But then
And they have had a lot of injuries over that time. That is fair enough to say that. But like I say, they have had most of them back now for the last couple of weeks, and they're still losing.
But you look at the slate, Sky, like they lost to the Patriots, the Bills, the Rams. They beat the Cardinals, only just, bear in mind, by 3 points. The Saints, they lost to Falcons, Panthers, and Dolphins. Admittedly, all these games, bar the Rams game where they lost 34-7, have been relatively close. I mean, the Bills game was 44-32. But what's gone wrong for them in this tail end outside of injuries? Because we can talk about the injuries, but every team gets injuries. Like, it is an X man up league. Like, Baker's still a very good quarterback, you know, and this defense has been fairly good the last few years. What's gone wrong with them towards this back end here? Just out of steam, maybe?
Yeah, I just feel like there's almost like a lack of chemistry as well, because we talk about the injuries, but really the injuries have only really been on the offense, which has been like Evans, Jalen McMillan in preseason. But when you've drafted Egbuka and then Tez Johnson was contributing, like, they still have a really strong receiver room. So I don't know if it's just a case of like the play calling issues on each side. I think Adams brought up before that potentially Todd Bowles can be on the hot seat. I think he sort of thinks he can get by in games by just dialing up blitzes and getting key stops in certain points. But so many quarterbacks in the league now are so equipped at, like, you know, being able to read what defenses are going to bring to them. And I'm just thinking, okay, I've not watched, you know, loads of their games, but for example, when we beat them, Drake May was very good at deciphering that and picking that apart. And I think that whenever I've watched Tampa, I would say the play calling's been predictable, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then they've not created turnovers to get opportunities for Baker. And yeah, that's probably where I have to see their faults.
Apologies for the start of this show. My mic's been a bit funny. I didn't realise I was on the wrong mic. Does that sound a bit better? Does that sound more clear?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You felt like I was in the Power Rangers, you know, when he comes through and why have I forgot his name?
Gone a bit more booming.
Yeah, you've just echoed through. Booming, unlike the NFC South.
Well, they've been without their backs as well, haven't they? But Sean Tucker's stepped up. The third stringer, he's been pretty good. I mean, they've
got depth compared to other teams, though, Fred. Like you said, with the injuries, like if someone else, like a Bucky Irving going down, Sean Tucker had a massive game. About 4 weeks ago, and like they're not removed of talent, and they're in the worst division in the league. So I don't know what excuses we can make for them.
I mean, the best thing they do on defense, they're 8th in rushing yards in defense this year. They've only allowed 1,665. That's probably been their biggest, I suppose, landmark thing that they've been building around. But let's talk about the Panthers. I mean, I'm never silent about how much I like Bryce Young and I like the Panthers. And I just think at the moment they're a bang average team doing bang average things, but doing it in a way that I quite like. In a way, does that sound silly? I don't know.
They're building, aren't they? Compared to where they were last.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I think coming out and saying that they are a bit bang average is probably about right. I mean, the defense has improved a lot from last year. I think that's because it couldn't really get any worse than what it was doing last year. So I think that's helped them a lot. And it's just another year of Bryce Young. He's got McMillan, which has been helpful for him as a good wide receiver. And obviously the run game has been vital for them with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. So I think that's kind of what's done it. They're not an exciting team to watch, but they're a functional team and they can win games this way. But I just don't. That's kind of it. So I think you're probably right in what you say in the first place.
I think it's fair to say that, you know, Dave Canales now, second year, they went 5-12, third division last year. Like, this is progress. Like, we talk about some of these coaches around this league that they should bounce or they should get rid of or replaced or etc. Like, this is tangible progress we're seeing from him. So he's clearly doing something right. You know, he needs some more draft cycles. They need a few more free agency periods. They need to. Yeah, if they get to the playoffs, their last playoff appearance was 2017, which was the last time they had a winning record as well. And the last time they actually won the division was 2015. And what happened in 2015 when they won the division?
The Super Bowl.
They went to the Super Bowl and Cam Newton got MVP. So I think he's to even win the division and get him in the playoffs, even at 9-8. I think sort of remarkable work. And I don't think people would have looked at their schedule either and maybe seen 9 wins. I think maybe people have gone like 7. I know it's not a huge, it's only 2 games, or even maybe potentially 1 game if they lose it. I sort of think if the Panthers don't make it, there's like immediate change that may be happening at Tampa, where there might be coaching adjustments. There might be some of the bigger names maybe shifted out of the place. Whereas I think if Carolina doesn't make it, I think they go, great, we're building, we'll reinforce next year, we'll get better, we'll get a bit younger in places. I think sort of Tampa has a bit more to lose really than Carolina, even though Tampa is trending towards the team that will lose.
Yeah. I hope the Panthers make it. And that year that you said, Fred, when they made the Super Bowl, the year prior to that, they were 7-8-1, but won the division. So I guess it's a similar thing to, is in like, hopefully they make the playoffs this time. They won a game that year. Will they win one this year? Probably not. But, at least they'll be in the playoffs and then see how they do going to next year. But yeah, it would be, I think as a neutral, we probably all want the Panthers to get in because, well, we don't really want a team with a losing record getting in again. Tampa did it a couple of years ago with Brady. They could actually be the second team ever to win a division with a losing record. As in, the only one to do it twice is what I mean. There's been 4 in history, and Tampa could have done it twice in the last 3 years. So, yeah, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to the Panthers either. I know it's a feel-good story. I think the rest of the NFC would rather play them as well because they haven't been in the postseason. The Bucs are banged up and have been awful, but still on their day, Baker and then could cook something up offensively.
They have experience of the playoffs, don't they?
Yeah,
they have experience. They have experience of going to the playoffs and being able to create something. A lot of their players have been there before, and hopefully we'll all want to go to again. Whereas the Carolina Panthers, it's going to be a very new situation for probably a vast majority of that team. Now, yes, the playoffs, anything can sort of happen, but I get where you're coming from with that. I mean, they beat Tampa week 16, so that last weekend, not this weekend, it's gone the weekend before, 23-20.
I shouldn't be too disrespectful because they did beat the Rams. Obviously, the Panthers had that statement win, didn't they? So they can do it. I just think it's obviously something a bit more pressure when the lights are brighter.
They've had statement wins against the Rams, against Green Bay, against Dallas early in the season.
When they beat Green Bay, everyone was laughing at them as well. Like that was that period. I think you, Adam, will know where I'm going. They lost to the Browns and the Panthers within a short space of time. Yeah. And it was kind of like, they've lost to 2 of the worst teams in the league. So they definitely are building something and it's positive. So, yeah, I think we'd like to see them get them done. But in a way, this is a playoff game as well, isn't it? Because it's win and get in. So, yeah.
Who do you fancy for Adam?
I mean, honestly, I don't care.
But you know what you just remind me of? Remember the famous Slavan Bilic at the Euros? Yeah. Like, what do you think is happening? He goes, to be honest, I don't care.
I think the Bucs will probably come through. They're at home. They've got the sort of bigger names. I think they probably get there. But like I say, I think whichever team it is they go up against, they're going to be playing the 49ers or the Rams, is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the Panthers have beaten the Rams, but I think it's going to be different in a playoff game. It's going to feel different for everyone. And I just think they'll get in and they'll be gone, whoever it is. So, yeah. I'd like to see the Panthers do it. I would, but
I think that's the same thing. I'd like to see the Panthers do it because I think it's a huge stepping stone for them. And it's.
I think you're right about the fact that if the Panthers don't get in, it won't matter so much. If the Bucs don't get in, I think Todd Bowles is gone.
Do you agree with that, Sky?
Yeah, I think he's gone as well. Because they can. You just got to pinpoint something, and I think it has to be the head coach. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but in that division with the talent that they have going into the season, I mean, even less than 10 wins is bad. I still think there's a case of if they win the division, and they get blown out in the first round of the playoffs, he could be gone. So I think for Tampa, in a way, you know how it is as a fan, you convince yourself that you want to be in the playoffs and you want to do this and you want to do that, but it might be a blessing in disguise if they do just lose to the Panthers and then have a bit of a reset with a new head coach.
Because they've won the division last 4 years, but they've only got to the divisional round. They've not got to the NFC Championship in the last 4 years, which has been under Bowles predominantly, I believe. Obviously, the last time they did, they got to the NFC Championship. They won the Super Bowl in 2020, which is actually, weirdly enough, they came second in the division that season as well. 2019 was the last time they didn't make the playoffs, and they hadn't got to the playoffs prior to that since 2007. So it's I do think there's a bit of rose tinting glasses of like, we've been very relevant for actually quite a short span of time.
Yeah, when Brady came in, they had the worst winning percentage of any franchise. That was the stat in across all of the major sports, not even just the NFL.
Exactly. And like, it was, I was listening to a podcast earlier, and it was about the Patriots actually, and it was sort of taking the mick, going, how hard it must have been for you to have 5 bad years compared to other franchises that have been bad for a very, very long time. And it is a little bit of a flip reverse of that with Tampa. It's like, you didn't get in the playoffs. Okay, but you did have 5 years of doing quite well compared to your other, like the Patriots had 20 years of being amazing, 5 bad years, and then have come back in brackets. And then vice versa with Tampa, they did nothing, got very successful for a very small amount of time. And then if they then go on to do nothing for a little bit, it's a bit like, well, this was sort of you for a while. Like, just because you've got good doesn't mean you suddenly have an earned right to sort of stay good. You know what I mean? Like, every team predominantly ebbs and flows.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really feel like they ever... I mean, obviously they won a Super Bowl, but that was largely due to Brady coming in. It's like, so it's not like the team itself suddenly become this all-conquering team, did it? So it's like, it won that year because it kind of did what it should have done, which was basically, we're going to bring in the veteran quarterback to get us over the line. And it worked. And they've kind of like, the only real reason they've been going to the playoffs is because the rest of that division has been dire for God knows how many. I mean, since Drew Brees left the Saints, they've been awful. Since Matt Ryan left the Falcons, they've been awful. The Panthers hadn't really done anything since Cam Newton. So it's almost like these guys all went, and it kind of left that sort of space for the Bucs to be able to sort of look like they were better than what they actually are, I suppose. And so that's probably why, like you're saying, they've been good. They've been able to win playoff games, but they've, apart from that point when they had Brady there, they've never really been able to like properly kick on and continue that. And I think that what you're seeing is you're probably seeing just a team that has kind of done well through circumstance.
We'll move on to the next game that we've got wrote down, and that is the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. It is 1 a.m. Saturday into Sunday. It's a Sunday morning at 1 a.m., like a Saturday night football game. Obviously a huge game, not just the battle for who could win the NFC West. It's also the battle for who could be the number 1 seed in the NFC and have home field advantage if they go all the way through to the Super Bowl. In fact, actually, if San Francisco gets that and then got to the Super Bowl, they don't have to leave home ever, because the Super Bowl is in San Francisco, which, well, has only happened. I wonder how many times that has happened in history, I know teams have played in their own stadium, but stayed the whole way, including the Super Bowl final.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the Bucks or the Rams.
Because I knew you immediately light bulb in your head. The Bucks, they played in the Super Bowl, but I don't think they stayed.
No, because they won in Lambeau. Brady, they won a road game at Lambeau. I'm trying to think of the Rams did it when they beat the Bengals.
Was that in LA?
Would it not? Yeah, it was. Would it not be mad that it's never happened in history, but now we're talking the last 5 or 6 years, we potentially could have a third team to win a home Super Bowl. It never happened until that COVID year, and then it's been Bucks, Rams, and now potentially because the Niners are in contention. I mean, I stayed up to watch last night's game. They were like phenomenal. And for Purdy to throw a pick six on the first play, and then I know it's one play, but then to play the game that he played,
considering he's been injured for a large majority of the season.
And some people were like, "Oh, Matt Jones could start when Purdy's back."
Yeah. I mean, that game last night, like you've just said, 42-38 against the Bears. Obviously, we said about the Seattle game. They beat the Carolina Panthers 27-10. Seattle currently at the top, 13-3. San Francisco 12-4. The Rams have unfortunately whittled off at 11-4, but all three teams are still going to the playoffs, which is pretty fantastic. But to think that, either the first or the second in one division is going to be atop the NFC. I mean, is that pretty wild? Has that happened before?
No, I think I looked earlier. I don't think it's ever happened for division and one seed.
We think, we sort of said that we thought the NFC West was going to be competitive this year, but I don't think any of us thought that it was going to be this electric. I mean, they have one trash team in Arizona Cardinals, but these three teams have just been phenomenal all the way through, haven't they?
I can't believe that they're actually both there. I think I was quite let's not bring up the clips, but I think I was quite critical of the Seahawks going into the season. Darnold moving over. I mean, obviously was positive on the Bears, but I can't just bang on one thing. Getting that right, got to admit my losses as well. The Seahawks doing as well as they has been insane, and obviously largely down to Mike McDonald, but then also you could say the same of what Shanahan's done in San Fran, but. Yeah, because even the Niners were being, wrote off. McCaffrey, is he done? He's banged up. He's injured. They missed their Super Bowl window when they lost to the Chiefs. Just incredible that there are three teams in that division who could legit go all the way. Although deep down, I have to say it, I do think that Sam Darnold is not a quarterback who's going to win a Super Bowl. I have faith in Brock Purdy to potentially get over the line. Because he had a great game in that Super Bowl. Because that game when they lost to the Chiefs, he played incredible. And if it wasn't for, who was it who got injured when he was celebrating on the sideline? Greenlaw? Yeah. If it wasn't for that, I think the Niners win that game.
The team's got to be as good as the whole team. It can't just be down to one player, can it? Really?
It was a big moment, though. I think the team were probably like, what the... Yeah.
It was a shifting moment in that Super Bowl. I will give you that. But I've said it. I say it a lot. We have so much recency bias in the NFL. And just because a team ends bad or finishes fantastically at the end of the playoffs doesn't mean that they're going to be Washington Commanders into the second year. They're going to take a step back. They were an NFC Championship team. Fantastic. But it was a rookie quarterback. Teams are going to learn. Teams are going to know. Teams are going to get healthier again. San Francisco, unfortunately, has been the same injury-ridden team it's ever been this season. But it seemed to have stuck pretty well, and it's actually San Francisco, Adam, the measure of coaching to coaching.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can have as many injuries as they've had consistently over the last few years and still be competitive. I mean, this year I bang on about it, but they did have the easiest schedule before the season started. It does sort of put a little bit of a dampener on what they've done. But the fact is, to lose all these players consistently over multiple years, and aside from last year, be Super Bowl competitive, I think it says an awful lot about the job that Kyle Shanahan has done and what his coaching staff has done there. So, I mean, that's kind of the bar. Everyone should be looking at that and trying to be like that, because it is impressive that they've managed to do it. When it comes to the division itself, I personally just think the Seahawks are a better all-round team than the 49ers. I think the Seahawks and the Rams are very close. But the Seahawks have been a little bit surprising this year in respect of they have been, I think we all felt that they did well last year. And I think they went 10-7 last year. And we thought that they would improve for another year of Mike McDonald. And it's you know, it's kind of shown out in the fact that they've gone 13-3 and could potentially go 14-3. And I think they're just a very good all-round team, but kind of like what Sky says, I do have some reservations on Sam Darnold. And the fact is that last year we were coming out going, the Vikings look good. They had a good solid year. They went into the playoffs first game and lost, and he struggled in that, and so it does make you worry a little bit. But I do think this team is better than what the Vikings team was last year. So I think they've got a really good chance of going a long way, especially if they do have the number 1 seed.
Well, the minute Seattle are the number 1 ranked offense and there's number 2 best defense.
Yeah.
So a part of me goes, well, even if Sam Darnold would shit the bed in the playoff game, you can lean on your defense. They're pretty good. And they've also not got a bad running game. You know, the 14th in rush yards, 10th in rushing touchdowns. And then their defense wise, you know, they're third in rushing yards, second in rushing touchdowns. They've had 1,510 yards and 9 touchdowns. They're second in quarterback hurries. They're third in quarterback pressures. They're 8th in sacks, 8th in quarterback knockdown. Like, they're 9th in passing touchdowns. They've only had 20. I mean, they are a very, very complete defense. And the one thing I heard again on another podcast earlier was that they felt like they just did everything well, but did nothing excellent. And I'm a bit like, well, isn't that the epitome of being excellent, is when everybody is doing very good and doing it at a high level? I mean, that's won the division in 2020. Last time they won 13 games was in 2013. What happened that year?
When they beat the Broncos.
When they won the Super Bowl. The last 10 years, they've missed the playoffs 4 times, the most recent being last season in 2023. Like you said earlier, McDonald's second year, 10-7. And you talk about schedule easiness or strength of schedule, I suppose. I don't think their schedule has been... that's not been a cakewalk, I don't think.
No, I think it's been easy. No? They played like Saints, Titans...
The Seahawks?
Yeah.
I think they were kind of middle of the league, weren't they?
Yeah, but I just think like they played. Actually no, sorry, no, because I'm gonna sound wrong, and I'm not criticizing them. I would just say, and I'm not just saying this because the Patriots have the easiest schedule. Sorry, as Adam was saying, this just speaks volumes to how open this season is. It really is. I feel like I text Adam this the other day. I feel like we've time traveled back to like the 2008 period, 2008 to like 2013, where it was just open every year, and there really is no clear favorite, and I love that. And so I'm not going to say it's been easy, but I mean, I can't say that because they've got the Niners and Rams in their division. So
what I do love is they played Niners the first game of the year. That's what I really like. That I love that it bookended the same games, and I know. Obviously, they had no idea in week 1 that the implications of what week 18 would be for both of these two teams. But obviously, the Seahawks lost that 17-13. Do you say about strength of schedule? Like, we have to bear in mind the strength of schedule stuff's done prior to the season and not within the season. So they played the Steelers, the Saints, the Cardinals, the Bucks, the Jags, the Texans. Hang
on a minute. That depends what you look at. If you look at Tankathon, then they have a adjusted strength of schedule.
Oh, do they?
Which is why the Patriots schedule became even easier during the season than it was at the beginning of the season.
Have a look at Seattle's then for me, if you're on it just there.
It probably, I don't know if it'll have it on there now because obviously most of the games are done. But I remember looking at it like halfway through the season, and the Patriots' strength of schedule was so far below everyone else's. But it was unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll have to dig it out because I was saying to Adam that we must have the technically ranked the easiest one, because if the Pats and the Broncos both win next week, the Broncos get the 1 seed because they've had a harder strength of opponent. Because we've not played
it only does it for the remaining schedule strength.
You know what though, I would like to see the Seattle Seahawks do well though and go to the AFC Championship. I actually would prefer that with the 49ers, and I only think that is because I just feel like the 49ers have just always been ever present there, and Sky's right. Seattle going to the NFC Championship or going far in this playoffs or going to the Super Bowl does feel like a major throwback, and I'm quite into that, and I'm quite into Sam Darnold silencing doubters as well. And that's not me saying I'm a doubter nor a believer. I'm quite into seeing someone prevail like that, and this I like a lot of their players. I like a lot. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been wow. I mean, fantastic. I like Kenneth Walker. I like Zach Charbonnet. I like Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp deserves to have. I know he's not been very good for Seattle this year, but I think he deserves to sort of go and have a little bit of one last go at it. I really like some of their guys on defense as well. I think they've got a lot of names and players of people that go. It's a little bit like Denver. Everyone goes, they've got really great defenses, but can you name 10 players on their defense? Like I probably couldn't, but I know they're really good, and I know they've got. I quite like their cornerback group and stuff like that. But I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I know they're pretty good, and I just think I'm liking Mike McDonald as well. I think his coaching this year has been brilliant, and I almost think Seattle may ebb and flow. But I think under Shanahan, the 49ers will always remain. They're always going to remain in the mix. They're always going to be in the mix, aren't they? You'd have thought so.
I think all the time he's there. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's like McVay, isn't it? All the time he's at the Rams, they're going to be competitive. And I think to a certain extent, you might find that it could become the same actually with McDaniel. I think that he's got the ability to do that. I know this is a real basic stat. And this isn't anything, obviously this is about who you've played and stuff like that. But the Seahawks have scored the most points in the whole NFL this season. And only the Texans have conceded less. And I think that tells you quite a lot about how much of a good all-round team they are.
That's what I mean about, like, you don't believe in Darnold. Do you think it's just a pressure thing for Darnold?
Yeah, I think so. I think it could end up being a bit like that it's just once the pressure kicks in. That doesn't mean that the team loses. It just means that the offense starts struggling a bit, I think.
I'm just not sure which NFC team I'm just not sure which NFC team I'm looking at and going that they'll give him that much trouble in a way.
I mean, the only one I would say is the Rams.
Yeah, it's the team of its in division.
Yeah.
And this year, what?
I think weirdly he probably is better in those, like that game we saw where they beat the Rams, those high scoring games. I'd be more concerned if I know I said last week I don't think the Eagles will go all the way, but I think when you play a team like their defense, that is where Sam Darnold is probably going to come unstuck because we saw what happened. What they even did to Josh Allen yesterday for pretty much 3.5 quarters. I think we all say about who's best, this and that, but we us avid free sat here and many people watching the podcast, watching the NFL for years, it's all about matchups and the X's and O's. And I think Sam Darnold gets exposed more against teams with an elite defense, elite pass rush, strong secondary. If you've got DeGene and Mitchell, covering in a game like that, that would be a team that the Seahawks wouldn't want to play. They're quite good against their own opponents because they're used to playing them and it's high scoring.
I think what you're trying to search for is that some quarterbacks just you can put a lot of pressure on them, but it's about the comfortability factor.
Yeah,
and I think you are very right. There's been some quarterbacks that we have done really, really well, and as soon as they've got very uncomfortable, they haven't been able to sort of rubber band back into a groove and to create their own groove in a way. I think Josh Allen for me is fantastic. Like, the ones that can run are pretty amazing at that, but also like Josh Allen's the best for that. I think once he's uncomfortable, I think he can get himself back into it quite quickly. But I do think that is like a question mark over Sam Darnold. You're right. He may have been felt comfortable against the Rams front, but he has played the Rams twice, and they do study it a lot. And they are in division, but you're right, when you come up against the Eagles, and the Eagles aren't the best team, and they haven't got their defense is playing well, but not as well as it was last year. But they are a team that get you uncomfortable, and they'll get you into spots. It's just unfortunately for them, they've had quarterbacks who have been able to get over that, and they've also had a poor offense to not be able to sort of counter that. So if you find a defense with an offense that works really well in the tandem, and the defense can get you offset, I think that is where Darnold would struggle. And it would be very interesting to see his reaction for that. Who do you reckon is going to win this game, Adam?
I think Seahawks win it.
Same for you, Scott?
No, go with the Niners because, like Adam said, I think this again essentially it's a playoff game, and I think you spoke about recency bias, Fred. But if you look at it, the body of work, Brock Purdy has taken his team to an NFC Championship game, a Super Bowl, turns up in all the big games, and Sam Darnold, when he had his biggest game last year with the Vikings, they got knocked out. So I think potentially it'll be a one-score loss, but I'm going to lean towards the Niners.
Also, as well, the Niners have been to the Super Bowl twice in the last 10 years and the NFC Championship 4 times in the last 10 years. So they're a team that knows how to get there and knows how to win and knows how to play in a sticky situation. Speaking of sticky situations, onto my team.
Sorry.
which doesn't make me sticky in the conventional sense of that South Park meme.
Well, yeah, are we talking about the same?
I think we know what we're talking about.
The Randy one.
Yeah.
Okay, love that. Hopefully that's you on Sunday night if you beat the Ravens.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is going to be since my brother has now got into the NFL, which has been in the last 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. He's been really getting into it, and he's chosen the Baltimore Ravens as his team, not really knowing that there was a big rivalry between us. And now he's like, even texted me yesterday going like, big game, last weekend saying it all goes down to next weekend, big game against the Browns. You've got to beat them, else you come into us and everything. Well, we're going to you and that. So yeah, we're looking at the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. That has been, as me and Sky discussed over text, which obviously no one knows about, but is obviously going to be the Sunday night football late game just for my sins. So that'll be at 1:20 in the morning, which I won't stay up for no matter what. As ever, I will watch it next morning and not read any text on social media. This is a winning situation. Steelers 9-7 at the minute, Ravens 8-8. Steelers obviously losing to the Browns 13-6. And the Ravens beating the Packers 41-24. Let's talk about the Ravens sort of to begin with, Sky. Obviously, they've been without Lamar. Snoop Huntley comes in and they played a phenomenal game against the Green Bay Packers. And I, in a way, it was a little bit of a get right game, I think, for them, because it's been a real turgid last like 5-6 weeks. What, they beat the Jets, lost to the Bengals, lost to the Steelers, beat the Bengals, lost to the Patriots, then they go and beat the Packers, and it's sort of it's the momentum they need in what will be the most important game for them this year. Well, currently this year.
Yeah, I think we've just seen that their X Factor players are sort of stepped up. Obviously, Derek Henry was fantastic against the Packers. Sorry, not sorry, Adam. I think we've seen that, even guys like Marlon Humphrey and that secondary probably giving up deep plays earlier in the season, but they've now stepped up. Defense has improved. And yeah, really, there was someone, who else did they... We talk about mid-season trades. There was a guy they got from the Titans, Jones. I can't remember his first name, but the linebacker.
Draymond Jones?
Yeah. He's been really good from what I've seen of the Ravens. So clearly, as a defense, this unit has really stepped up and created opportunities for the offense to do what it does best. And we all said this last year when they got knocked out of the playoffs. As long as you give Derek Henry at least 20 touches in a game, they can play to their script and they can do what they did on Saturday. Yes, it was a game in the battle of the backups, but as we said at the top of the show, Malik Willis has been pretty good whenever he stepped in for the Packers. So I think it was a victory which shouldn't be frowned upon. And given, Fred, that you beat them last time when the Steelers were the underdogs, I think they'll really be chomping at the bit for the revenge here. And annoyingly, for the rest of the AFC, we talk about not wanting teams in by saying, no one potentially want to play the Bucs offense. I mean, that's just me being polite. But no one will actually want to play the Ravens, really, despite how bad Lamar has been, just because it's not a nice place to go and play, which obviously a division winner, someone will have to, at least for the first round. And we know what can I know Lamar's had his playoff woes, but wouldn't it be very typical NFL, if all the years that he was fantastic and bottled it in the playoffs, suddenly, if he's healthy, maybe there's a playoff run for Baltimore coming if they get this done.
Or even if he turns up and he's not healthy, but still takes him on a massive Super Bowl run.
Who knows?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Adam, did you really think it would sort of get this close after the first 6 weeks only winning one game? Obviously, they came back after week 7. They won 5 on the bounce. But after that start to the season, I think there was a lot of people sort of checking out and going, well, maybe it's just not their year this year.
I think most of us felt they were going to come back. They had a lot of injuries, didn't they, in them first few weeks on that defense? It really did get badly beaten up quite early on in the season, and it did feel like that they were going to be one of them teams that had a chance to come back. So the fact that they've managed to get to where they've got to, I feel is probably about right. Regarding last week against us, I think it was just that it was easy for them to just keep running Derrick Henry. But there is a clear correlation of the Ravens doing well and running Derrick Henry. It's like, this isn't complicated stuff. It's just that the head coach seems to want to make it complicated. If you keep running him, chances are you probably will be successful, unless the opposition defense is incredibly good against the run. So I think that's definitely the way that they need to play. They need to do that. It helps if they get a lead, obviously. That is the benefit for them, and so the run game comes into it a lot more. But yeah, I think the Ravens just in general they're an okay team. I don't think they've been amazing this year. I think they've been all right. I think they're probably about where they should be, but I would argue that the Steelers should have been further than where they are now, and that's kind of where the reason that this has sort of come about is more of an indictment on them than it is on the Ravens.
It's more about Steelers falling off than it is about Ravens having this rejuvenation through the season.
Yeah, I think so.
I completely agree. And I think that if the Steelers were to win this game, I don't think the AFC teams look at the Steelers as a problem team. But I think if the Ravens go through, the entire AFC will see Ravens as a problem team. I think, like Sky said, Derrick Henry, that atmosphere, Lamar, even if he's half healthy, he's still a very good player. They've got Carl Hamilton. I mean, best safety in the game, really, at the minute. I mean, they've got players. They've got some good guys there. I mean, they've only missed the playoff 5 times in 7 years. That's mental. Well, that's such a crazy stat, really. I mean, John Harbaugh's been there since 2008.
Over to the host. I believe what you want to talk about the Steelers. Yeah. I can see it in your face.
Fred, why don't you guys ask me some questions? Oh, Sky, you go with your point.
I have a good question, actually. Do you think, because when did the Ravens not flirt with did Cooper Rush not play a few games, and you were just like, as we always say, why not just have a backup who does what your main starter does, which is why Snoop returned? Do you think the Ravens have a better chance of winning this game against your defense were you more worried about playing Snoop given how bad Lamar has been? Because they've looked more efficient. They looked more efficient even in the game that we beat them when he came in.
No, I would say that Lamar Jackson is still Lamar Jackson. Like he's still very good. I think what may happen is that they won't put as much pressure on Lamar to throw after what's transpired with Henry in the last game, and clearly when they lost to who'd they lose to? When they lost to the Patriots, and they were definitely sort of going, why aren't we not leaning on Henry more in that game? No, if Huntley plays, I think that their passing game does decrease, is not going to be as good. However, they will lean on the run game, and I just don't think we're good enough to deal with that, really.
Do you think that your chances, again, feels like stating the obvious, but do you think it really, like the swing meter of whether TJ Watt plays or not, is that going to be the main factor here?
Well, we've got no DK Metcalf either. And I'm not saying DK Metcalf is a TJ Watt. Say again?
Is that because of the fan thing?
Yes.
I didn't know he had another game.
Yeah. So we've got, and I'm not saying DK Metcalf is our TJ Watt on the offense, because he's not. But it was so evident that we have no wide receiver depth without DK and Calvin Austin. MVS is not it. Obviously, we lost Washington.
I know.
Yeah. Obviously. Well, Adam Thielen, I was quite happy about getting him because I just thought he's just sort of like sure hands.
Yeah.
And he's not been utilized. We've lost Washington. He's broke his arm, so he's probably not going to play. So then you're now with Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth, who was probably our best offensive player of the last 2 years, has just been found and made 2 of the most spectacular catches probably all season for the Steelers against the Browns. Why he has not been used the whole year, I have no idea. I'm unfathomable why we're doing that. Jonnu Smith has never been as good as Pat Freiermuth. I have no idea why Jonnu Smith's sort of suddenly high on the list. I love Washington. I love what we're doing with him. And I think that's been a really smart, creative initiative that we've installed in our offense. And I think people haven't really dealt with it very well at all. And you can't really deal with it because he's so big and strong. I've seen many plays this year that any other player would have gone down, and he's gone over them and got the first downs. He's been really remarkable this year, I think. But we just have nothing on top. Jalen Warren and Gainwell, week to week, run hot and cold. I have to give credit where credit's due. The left tackle Cook, who came in, I thought was tremendous. Was really good against Myles Garrett and against any other defender. He really stood his ground, I thought. And I had no idea where he's come from. I think he might have been a rookie. I'm not overly sure. But he was tremendous. But I hate to say this. I think Myles Garrett was right. I think we were more worried about not allowing the sack record against us, against Aaron Rodgers, than we were about focusing on ourselves. And I don't mean he said about winning the game. We wanted to win the game, obviously. Yeah. But I think we weren't focusing on our offense properly when you've got him coming down. Now, I would argue, I don't think any team focuses properly when you've got someone like him barreling down you. He's easily Defensive Player of the Year this year, easily a Hall of Famer. He's incredible. He's amazing. He's got many years to come where he's going to be just as amazing. And it pains me to say that I would like him to break the sack record that's held by Strahan and TJ Watt, because I think though Watt did it that year, I don't think he was the monster that Garrett has been this year. You know, he's been phenomenal. I do not see us winning this game.
Do you?
That was my next question. Sorry.
I just don't see it.
Do you think that Mike Tomlin reached 9 wins and just short-circuited and decided to throw the last 2 games to keep the 9-8 record going?
What I do think is when you look at it, with 15th best offense, with 16th best defense, middle of the pack, 9-8, middle of the pack. We do nothing, consistently doing nothing. Consistently in the middle.
Average teams earlier. Whenever I've watched the Steelers, it's very average.
Just to kind of like, obviously not move away from the game too much, but we did say, didn't we, that when Aaron Rodgers came in, when DK Metcalf came in, this was all very much about win now. This was the idea. Do you think that they have not done enough? Because when you look at your picks for 2026, you do have quite a few picks in the first 3 rounds, and it does feel like going out and getting. I know, like you like Calvin Austin, and you felt that he had done well, and obviously he got injured in this game this week. It does feel like another wide receiver would have been the way forward, rather than having to scrape the bottom of the barrel and getting MVS back in.
I think if you're going to go all in with Aaron Rodgers, and I think all 3 of us will admit this, I think we're all very surprised at how well he's played for us. I think he's almost sort of rejuvenated his career in a weird way.
I think he's held up very well.
I think he's held up very well. I think he's done very, very well for us. Way better than what we've seen before. And I think he's done himself credit compared to what people were saying about when he was at the Jets, when people were just writing him off. The Jets did more to surround Aaron with weapons than we have done.
Yeah.
They definitely did. They brought in, okay, we joked at the time, they brought in all his guys, but it made sense to bring in his guys. It completely made sense. They brought in Al-Azhar. They still had Garrett Wilson. They They bought in a Cobb. They already had a pretty good number 4 receiver. They who else they have at tight end? God, who did they have at tight end at that time? I can't remember now. They had Breece Hall. They had a pretty good young O-line who had high draft picks. We didn't go and make a big move like Joe Tooney. We didn't go and do that. We didn't go and make a big move for a running back. We didn't. We did the trade for DK Metcalf. Yeah, a great wide receiver, a good wide receiver. But that is him and it. And I like having Austin, but he is a utility. He's a smaller set wide receiver. Our game plan has then been to use the tight ends. Our best tight end we have just not used this year. Unfairly, in my view, because I don't know what he's done wrong, because he's been fantastic the last 2-3 years for us.
Well, the problem is that Arthur Smith is always going to use Johnny Smith.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. This is
he did it in Atlanta, didn't he? That was how it was. It's like he will just continually do it. No, the only reason I was looking at, you've got a first, you've got a second. I think you've got 3 thirds.
Okay.
One of them's a comp pick, but like you've got 3 thirds, and it just kind of felt a little bit like there were guys you could have gone out and got, and obviously you can't foresee DK Metcalf ending up with a 2-game suspension. It's like that's just unfortunate what's happened. But it does sometimes make you wonder how all in were they? Because it feels like they weren't. But then if you're going to bring in the likes of Aaron Rodgers, why are you not going? It kind of feels like you have to, because otherwise it's a waste of time.
Well, maybe it is a little bit of that. Like, bring Aaron Rodgers in. We'll start making the moves now. Let's see what we've got with Aaron. What our game plan is, where we can be more, where we may need to, and maybe then next year we have a bit of a wider sense of what we need in a way. Potentially, I don't know.
Maybe
a bigger question is, winning in situation, whoever loses, do you think the coach is at risk?
Not the Ravens, because of the injuries that Adam mentioned with the defense and Lamar being so banged up. I think there's probably more chance of it won't happen. There's probably more chance of Lamar getting traded though than Harbaugh being fired. With Tomlin in the Steelers,
I've read there is, much like Adam said about Tampa fans being disgruntled, there's Ravens.
Yeah, there are a lot of Ravens fans that aren't happy.
But that's because they have, like most fan bases, they have, because you mentioned about all their playoff appearances. All right, they've got the one Super Bowl win, but they sort of have a thing of where they feel like they should be
entitled to be good.
Yeah, entitled to be in the mix. Probably
they feel a bit like Eagles fans at the moment. The Eagles have gone from the Super Bowl to dropped a little bit down, where the Ravens have gone from like the AFC Championship game and dropped a bit down, and the
entitlement of success.
Yeah. And I think I think he stays. I think that'd be crazy to get rid of him.
Tomlin could get traded.
No. Tomlin only goes if he wants to go.
Yeah. But then,
which is half the problem.
Let's assume that Rodgers does retire, because that's what he said, right, after this season. Well, then this is Tomlin's chance to probably is the best thing for you guys. And
I think they should do exactly what Robert Kraft did with Bill Belichick. They took him in a room and said, "We are no way going to publicly fire you, but you need to go." And that's what happened to Bill Belichick. No matter what people will say, that is my firm. I think that's probably Sky's belief as well as a Patriots fan. But that I'd like to think. I think we've discussed this before, and you've said I think that's completely what happened. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean,
it will never be said, but that is what happened.
Last season we were awful, and then they mutually agreed, and it was like, oh, okay.
I think Tomlin needs to be brought in for a mutual agreement of you're going to retire, or I'm going to have a few years out and reassess what I want to do. I've been here a very long time. Thank you. See you later. I mean, I agree. I think if the Ravens don't get in, I don't think you in a million years should get rid of Harbaugh.
I just think, as a division, there's a perfect opportunity for one franchise here, given how mental it's been the last few years and how we're saying it looks like the NFL in the next few years is going to follow suit of being this open, to have a hard reset in the best way. Whether it's the Bengals getting rid of Zach Taylor or the Steelers getting rid of Tomlin and Rodgers, the Ravens probably shouldn't get rid of Lamar and Harbaugh. They've got more to build around, but there's an opportunity for two franchises there, because there are pieces like with the Steelers defense when healthy is still, incredible talent on that team. It's just something needs to change. And, you know, it's been all these years without a playoff win. Obviously, a long time since even sniffing a Super Bowl. Something's got to change.
We last won the division 2020. The last time we didn't make playoffs is in 2022. We've not been to the playoffs 6 times in 18 years under Tomlin, which again is a pretty amazing stat, I admit. The last AFC Championship we went to was 2016. The last time we went past the wild card was in 2017, and that was because we had a first round bye. And who did we lose to? Come on,
what year?
2017.
That must have been the Patriots. No,
they played. This team played the Patriots in the AFC Championship.
The Jags.
It was. We lost to the Jags.
Yeah, you lost to Blake Bortles. Bloody hell.
And I'm pretty sure in that year, that was the year we had Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. I mean, Cam Hayward. It was like young Hayward. Then we were a really good team then. Really good team.
The 2016 AFC Championship game was like 36-7, something like that. And it was like Steelers only scoring at the end. And I just think there's this thing with the Steelers currently as well. Like if you don't change something now, yes, you could get back to being somewhat competitive, but I think you're just always going to come up against teams where you're going to not get over the hump. So this is the time now where I don't want TJ Watt to go through what his brother did, no pun intended, with the double Watt there, and have his career wasted. But he probably will.
The problem is like who, you know, if you do take Tomlin and Rodgers out, who do you bring in? Because you're not getting anyone in the draft.
Yeah,
that's going to be your quality.
That, Adam, is a very big debate for another time.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that is the issue, isn't it? And that's kind of why it's very difficult. Very difficult to. It kind of almost feels like they're probably more likely to stick.
Well, thank you, Adam. Thank you, Sky, for this episode. I will be watching that game with bated breath in the morning of Monday morning on my way to work, which should be hopefully a lot of fun. We shall see. Oh, I've got sad. I think whoever goes through out of these two teams will get bounced straight up. I think Ravens are. I think Ravens are a tough team, but I think they'll get bounced. Adam, Sky, thank you very much for joining it. Thank you, everyone, for watching or for listening on whatever platform you did. If it was on YouTube, please make sure you like and subscribe. And if it was on any podcast platforms, please make sure you subscribe there as well. And check out all our stuff on social media. Our betting podcast is still going with Adam and Andrew, so make sure you check that out as well. Until then, we'll see you all again. Thank you for listening or for watching. Have a really great new year, and we'll see you soon.